Lizzie, and we'll be back with the late news at 10 o'clock now on BBC One. It's time for the news where you are. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Security alerts in County Armagh and Londonderry have caused a significant amount of disruption. 2 suspicious objects were found in Lake Street in Lurgan, close to the railway line, affecting train services through the town. They were later declared elaborate hoaxes, and homes were evacuated in Derry due to separate alerts. Will Leach reports.
Like much of this week, the resources of the police and army bomb experts are diverted to suspect devices, this time 2 in one street in Lurgan near the Belfast-Dublin railway line, leading to significant cross-border disruption. They turned out not to be real explosive devices, but it always takes time to make sure. This alert has now been going on for several hours. It's centred on 2 devices on Lake Street running alongside the railway line. And not only are local roads closed, but rail services are disrupted, delayed and cancelled. Rail passengers had to take bus substitution services between here in Portadown and Lisburn. There was a similar arrangement for the cross-border enterprise service running between Belfast and Newry. All this on the day when engineering work between Drogheda and Dublin already meant taking the bus for much of the route south of the border as well. The result, great inconvenience and disruption.
Unfortunately, we have dissident Republicans, if that's who's responsible again today, seem to have upped the ante and certainly are trying their best to cause as much mayhem. If they can't do it by taking people's lives, they're certainly going to try and hit it economically.
Meanwhile, homes were evacuated for a time due to 2 separate alerts in the Gobnascale area of Londonderry. Later this afternoon, all the devices there and in Lurgan were described by the police as elaborate hoaxes, and residents were able to return to their homes. Will Leach, BBC Newsline.
The mother of a County Armagh woman who was beaten and robbed in Chicago says justice has been served. Natasha McShane's mother Sheila was speaking after a man was found guilty of trying to kill her daughter. 27-year-old Natasha has been left brain damaged and can't walk or talk unaided. On Thursday, Heriberto Viramontes was convicted by a court in Chicago of her attempted murder. A man's been arrested in Londonderry over an arms and drugs find in the city last December. The 27-year-old is being questioned about possession of explosives, firearms and ammunition, as well as the supply of drugs. Money recovered from criminals is funding new efforts to prevent road deaths here. A car crash simulator, the first of its kind in Northern Ireland, has been built with £35,000 seized by the authorities. Police will be taking the simulator to schools in County Antrim and County Londonderry over the next few months in efforts to highlight the importance of safe driving. Here's our North East reporter David Maxwell.
Unlikely boy racers, perhaps. But these executive ministers are about to experience reckless driving and a car crash. This new simulator is the only one of its kind in Northern Ireland, and its purpose is to educate young people about the dangers of driving recklessly. Using hydraulics, light, sound and smoke, it highlights the dangers of being distracted and the impact serious or fatal crashes can have.
It does indeed, in my opinion, a very powerful tool to get that message out to drivers, like particularly young drivers. Unfortunately, the evidence here shows that our young drivers are 4 times more likely to die on the roads and 7 times more likely to be the cause of deaths.
PSNI officers will take the simulator to 21 schools over the next few months.
It'll open my eyes to like slowing down a lot more than not use my mobile phone and things like that while I'm driving.
It highlights how easily someone can be distracted, and it's definitely a very good simulation of what it would be like.
So far this year there's been 43 deaths on our roads. 12 of those killed were under 25. It's hoped this will aid efforts to reduce those numbers in future. David Maxwell, BBC Newsline, Ballymoney.
Now in rugby, Ulster had an impressive win over the Cardiff Blues in the Pro 12 at Ravenhill last night. The home side ran in 5 tries, with Dan Toohey crossing the line twice in their 39-21 victory. There were also tries from Luke Marshall, Andrew Trimble and Jared Payne, helping to secure Ulster's 6th win in a row. New Zealander Payne was named Ulster's man of the match. Now with a look at the weather forecast for the rest of the weekend, here's Jeff Maskell.
Hello, good evening. Well, the clocks go back tonight, so an extra hour in bed tomorrow morning, and you might need it after what could be quite a blustery night overnight tonight. Temperatures on the mild side, lows of 8 or 9 degrees, but as we get into tomorrow morning, some quite squally conditions, particularly if you're exposed to a southwesterly breeze. So this is the picture. Just watch those wind gauges as we go through the day. That southwesterly wind picks up, and that is driving some real squally rain across Northern Ireland. The temperatures might be quite decent, but with that rain being blown sideways at you, it won't feel very pleasant under those showers. Now that really is a picture that is carried across Scotland, across the northwest of England. For the rest of England and Wales, a reasonably drier and slightly brighter day with slightly warmer temperatures, but they are very much in the path of the big weather feature which is due with us on Monday. The big storm that is brewing, at the moment it looks as if it will track well to the south of us, so 80-mile-an-hour winds in this worst affected area where the amber warning is in place. By comparison, the weather for Northern Ireland on Monday will be much more benign. A little bit of showery rain around, but really not looking too bad at all. If you do want more details on the coming storm, my colleague Nick Miller has put a film on the BBC Weather website. But by comparison to what London and the South East are going to face, Northern Ireland for the start of next week has really quite a benign looking picture.
That's it for now. BBC Newsline will be back tomorrow evening at 6:10. From everyone on the team, have a very good evening. Bye-bye.